A very good evening from Rodney Parade in Newport on what is another big night for Wales's women and their quest to reach the European Championship finals in 2022 to be played
croeso
in
cynnes
England.
I Rodney Parade at ei Owain
It is a
Llyr ar
test
gyfer y
against the Faroe
darllediad
Islands, a
byw
team that Wales
o
have
gêm.
already beaten by significant margin, in fact, in this campaign so far. 6-0 earlier in this campaign, including a hat-trick for Natasha Harding, who is among the 11 players starting for Wales this evening. We will go through the teams in due course, but as the Icelandic officials lead out both sets of players onto Rodney Parade, it is a chance for me, Simon Davis, to say a very good evening to Gwennan Harris, former Wales international, and Gwennan, very much looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, not so bad. Good evening. Yeah, very much so. Especially after the last performance, Wales were superb against Norway. Unfortunate not to come away with any points, so hopefully today will be a good performance, and obviously the most important thing is a good result.
And there will be a very special presentation in just a moment. We won't spoil it just yet, because it is a surprise, in fact, for the player involved as well. We'll put that clue out there, but it is to recognise a marvellous achievement in the international game. That will be apparent once we have the national anthems, which will start with that of the Faroe Islands.
Sophie Ingle has become Cymru's third ever Centurion, following in the footsteps of teammates Jessica Schlock and Lauren Dykes.
Well, here comes the surprise that I teased. What a moment for Sophie Ingle, receiving her 100th cap. And I'll let Gwennan reveal who is delivering that cap to her.
Yeah, it's actually her mother. So unfortunately, she wasn't able to be there when Sophie won her 100th cap out in Norway. So they're a very, very close-knit family. And Sophie will obviously probably be quite moved, to be honest. So she'll have to be really professional, as she always is, to get over those types of feelings. But yeah, it's a lovely gesture from the FAW to ensure that her mother can be here to award her with that cap.
Yeah, all the best to the Ingle family. Sophie's fiance also here this evening, and Sophie's mother Catherine with a beaming smile on her face. A very, very proud moment for a wonderful football player and a wonderful servant to Welsh football as well. So warm applause then for Sophie Ingle's achievement. And we will now have the national anthems.
Please rise for the national anthem of the Faroe Islands. And the aros yn y tran ar gyfer anthem Cymru. Please remain standing for the national anthem of Wales.
That was a wonderful job by the Football Association of Wales to pump in artificial sound for those anthems. Just such a shame that no fans are here present to witness this evening's game. Well, manager Jane Ludlow has made 3 changes from last month's defeat in Norway. All-time leading Wales goal scorer Helen Ward comes into the team, as does Gemma Evans and Nadia Lawrence. Josie Green and Rachel Rowe drop to the bench. Tottenham's Anna Philby misses out because of an ankle injury. Well, the Faroe Islands are ranked 86 in the world and are bottom and winless in Group C. All their players play for Faroese clubs, with the exception of captain Asla Johannesson, who is at Danish team Norgesland. The most experienced player is Heidi Søvdal with 45 caps and 19 goals. Well, needless to say, Gwenan, that tonight is a game that Wales cannot afford to drop points from. Everything would suggest, on the form book at least, on paper, and that's easier said than done of course, but on paper it should be comfortable for Wales tonight, but you can never be guaranteed of these things. No, you can't, you are right there. However, saying that, you would expect, Wales are overwhelming favourites. Faroe Islands haven't scored a goal, they've conceded a lot in this campaign. They've conceded 6 previously to Wales, the opening game in the campaign, conceded 13 to Norway, so you would hope after the performance in Norway by the Welsh team that they will be full of confidence, and if they get a start like they did in that opening game out in the Faroe Islands, then I'm sure that will settle the nerves a little bit. Well, realistically speaking, Wales are after that second spot, because it does seem as though Norway will be the group winners. Wales, of course, still to play Norway on Tuesday night, but they have to do the job against the Faroe Islands first here at Rodney Parade this evening. Good to see all players and staff take a knee in the fight against racism in all its forms, not just in football, but in wider society as well. So Sophie Ingle, on her 101st cap, will kick things off for Wales. And after the honour of receiving the cap from her mother, she plays the ball back to Anhara James, and we are underway. Wales adopting a diamond formation, it seems. And it's lovely to see a front two of Helen Ward and Kaylee Green. Do you know, I don't think I've seen them play together, certainly under the Jane Ludlow tenure. I don't think they've ever started together, so it's superb to see an attacking formation right from the get-go. Very interesting just to see the well, not formation, but just the players' positions from the kick-off. Obviously something that they've recognised from the clips that they've seen of Faroe Islands. And as we can see, the full-backs will look to push on high this afternoon as well. Hayley Ladd's long ball looking for Rhiannon Roberts, and it goes out for the first throw-in of the game, which goes to the Faroe Islands. And we covered the previous fixture between these two teams, of course, and what a occasion it was for Natasha Harding. A hat-trick. She'll be hoping for the same tonight. She certainly will, and I think we'll see her playing a more advanced role this evening, or this afternoon, sorry. I think she'll be playing now at the top of the diamond, just behind Kaylee Green and Helen Ward, and she'll look to use her pace and try and exploit in behind. However, saying that, actually, if the Faroe Islands do adopt the same setup they did the last game, they'll be sitting pretty deep. And the throw in from Hansen, and it's a free kick to the Faroe Islands, and Briet Bragadottir, the Icelandic referee, saw something she didn't like. Wales have, well, they got that crucial win in Belarus, that was key, but they have I'll think back to those Northern Ireland games and the points dropped then, in particular here at Rodney Parade, of course. Ward up towards Green. And Johannesson, poor clearance, here's Ingle. Evans. Got the option of Fishlock. Good tackle from Lanhaig. Ingle recovering. I think Kaylee Green will be quite excited actually to play with a strike partner this afternoon. She's used to doing a lot of the solo work, and sometimes she can be very isolated, so it'll probably quite pleasant for her to have somebody working so close off her this evening. Green's ball in towards Harding, thumped away by Torrals Dottir. Kaylee Green linking up with Harding. First chance of the game for Wales, and Natasha Harding who scored that hat-trick out in the Faroe Islands, is hungry for more goals, clearly, this evening.
Yeah, good interplay between Kaylee Green and Natasha Harding. She's got a good first touch out of her feet, but defence have made a good block. She'll be looking, as I said, to exploit those little spaces.
It's been a very attack-minded start from Wales. And Hayley Ladd among those pushing up to the halfway line here. Long ball towards Kaylee Green. Clearance away from Torral's dot here. And the break is on Yehus. Sevdal. Well, this is what Wales are all about under Jane Ludlow, building from the back. Of course, we're used to seeing Sophie Ingle in those centre-back positions, but she is just as adept at playing in midfield as she is in defence.
Yeah, and it's lovely to see her playing in those positions, like we've literally just seen. You know, that's where she plays for her club. She's so comfortable on the ball, so she can get on there and she'll dictate the game, the tempo, and find little passes through, like she's done twice in the last 10 seconds.
And James on the ball. We don't normally see Anhara James push up so much as well. Wales really taking the game to the Faroe Islands. Of course, we should point out that if it gets to a point where Wales and Northern Ireland, or Belarus for that matter, are all level on points in that second position, then it comes to the head-to-head. And in the case of Wales and Northern Ireland, it's not favourable for Wales, because Northern Ireland have scored better away goals in games against Wales.
Yeah, we think back to that evening here, just over a year ago, wasn't it? Where we conceded, well, in added on time. It was really disappointing. A disappointing way, and then obviously the 0-0 draw away in Northern Ireland. So we're actually hoping that we can obviously win this afternoon and then get a point or get something from the game against Norway. However, we do know that Northern Ireland have got 2 difficult games against Belarus coming up, so I'm sure the managers will be keeping an eye out on the game over there. Incidentally,
the game between Norway and Belarus last night postponed because of COVID sanctions in place in Norway at the moment. Of course, Wales did win out in Belarus as well. Didn't win in Norway, but really run the Norwegians close. A 1-0 defeat, which on any other night could have been a draw. Could have even nicked it. Wales had some great chances in that game.
And a very strong penalty shout, says somebody who's maybe a bit biased, but it was if there was VAR there, then I'm pretty sure it would have been given.
Yeah, and Jane Ludlow said pretty much the same thing. Johannesson with the goal kick. It's a poor one, and Kaylee Green can take advantage here. Well, that is what Wales have got to do. So take the game to this inexperienced Faroese team. Ingle of Chelsea linking up with the Brighton player Kaylee Green. Holds up the ball so well. Roberts looking for James. Something tells me, well, Faroe Islands here on the counter-attack, and it's Johannesson who's got options in the middle. Sivdal is there. First real attack for the away side. Good covering from Tash Harding. And Hayley Ladd as composed as ever.
Yeah, we're so used to seeing her in those situations, aren't we? But that all started because of a poor pass, you know, lack of pace on the pass through from Rhiannon Roberts to Anhara James, who'd made a good run, actually. He was looking to run off the shoulder of the centre half. Just need to be a little bit more precise, because this is what, it's probably the one area of the game that Wales tend to be lacking in.
Ingle to Green. Ingle again. Ward. Well, Helen Ward hasn't been a regular starter in recent fixtures under Jane Ludlow, but the Wales manager knows that whenever she needs a goal, whenever Wales need to get back into a game, there are very few players of her goal-scoring ability that can come on and change things.
Yeah, exactly. I think sometimes as well, when you're having a bad game, you know, it affects your confidence. But Helen can not go missing in the sense of having a bad game, but she can be quiet at times. But then she'll just pop up at that crucial moment, and that's what you want: is a goal scorer that you can rely on, and she is certainly that. So Wales's record goal scorer will be looking to extend that record.
42 goals in 91 caps. That says it all. And for players like Helen Ward, you mentioned Jess Fishlock as well, some of the more experienced players, that overall achievement, that goal of reaching a major tournament becomes even more, not desperate, but urgent the older you get. That's just the fact of life.
Oh, certainly, and you know, you only have to listen to their interviews. They're desperate. They're absolutely desperate to to get Wales to a major tournament. You know, I think Jess has come out and said it'd be the highlight of her career, and you know, she's won a lot of trophies in a lot of countries. It's just putting on that red shirt is so special, and it's something that, you know, not many have the opportunity to do, and when you are there, you want to just try and obviously be the best you can be, but to get Wales to the first championship would be a real massive moment, and I'm sure it would push the game on even further in this country.
Fishlock's gone wide, it's a cross in towards Green, and that's the first real chance of the game. Kaylee Green, wonderful ball from Jess Fishlock, and it almost looped over the goalkeeper.
Superb ball in by Jess Fishlock. I think Kaylee Green just mistimed her run there. If you just watch her body angle, she just couldn't quite get her body shape correct to make it easier for herself, so that required a lot of power then to try and direct that back. Ideally she wants to head that down and make it a lot more difficult for the goalkeeper, but just a missed time, but encouraging signs from Wales.
Ingle, Wales captain, Fishlock, the former captain, and here's Ladd. Roberts. Jane Nodder likes to switch between a back three, a back four. We've seen a number of formations during her tenure as Wales manager. It is a flat four tonight, but with Ingle just in front of that defence, picking up all the loose balls.
I think as well, just allowing the likes of Angharad James and Jess Fishlock in this game to get higher. You know, we're used to seeing them in those two screen positions that are, you know, doing a lot of the, as you said, picking up the ball, doing a lot of the dirty work. So, you know, they're both very good players. Jess has probably got a little bit more of an attacking prowess to her game than Angharad, but Angharad has scored in this campaign as well. She has been pushing on further, so it's good to see that they're being given more licence today.
Roberts. And Ladd being chased by Sivdal. Lawrence. Ingle. She spotted Gemma Evans, taken down beautifully. Fishlock again. Is the delivery there again? It is towards that back post, and it wasn't too far away, was it? For Angharad James.
We just said about Angharad James getting the licence to go further, didn't we? Timed the run superbly, and again another world-class delivery by Jess Fishlock. But again, you know, just getting underneath the ball, we want to try and direct them either back across, Natasha Harding was there for a tap-in, or back down across, making it more difficult for the goalkeeper.
Well, Fishlock and James have been the ultimate midfield partnership for Wales, but there we saw a different side to both of their games. Fishlock on the wide left there with that delivery, and James surging forward. Both are capable of scoring goals, and they'll be keen to get on the score sheet tonight. Roberts finding Lawrence. No Anna Philby tonight of Tottenham. Picked up that ankle injury, a real blow for her. Played really well against Norway. Here's Ingle. Assessing the options, but goes for Fishlock. And ball.
Yeah, you can see, you know, Natasha Harding and Angharad James are trying to play right up on that defensive line, and actually trying to look to get him behind to stretch that defence, so some will come with them, and that'll then create a little bit more space in the pocket for the likes of Kaylee Green or Helen Ward, Jess Fishlock to get into those spaces and hopefully turn.
Well, with no fans in the stadium, you do get the benefit, or sometimes the misfortune, of hearing everything that's said on the sidelines, and I'm sure you could hear the Feroes coach John Peterson there. Jane Nodder less vocal these days, and I did point that out to her in one of my last interviews with her. She said, "Oh, it's interesting you noticed that. I've tried to calm, a bit more zen about my managerial style."
Well, I remember one game when there was a little break between maybe possibly us talking, and there was a few naughty words said, so we tried to fill the gaps a little bit quicker from then on.
Yeah, we shall. Towards Harding, and that is a great chance. And for a player who's got a hat-trick in this corresponding fixture earlier in the campaign, she will be disappointed not to be on the score sheet here.
To be totally honest, that's a gilt-edged chance that she's missed. What is she, 6 yards out? She will expect to do far better. Well, we expect her to do far better there. Another delivery in from the eye. That's obviously something that they've been looking at. I think You can see a little bit the Faroe Islands players are getting a bit drawn to the ball, so they're leaving numbers in behind. They're not marking tightly, and she's got to do better there. You know, to hit the target.
Kaylee Green has won the header. Clearance from Johannesson. Ingle there to recollect for Wales. A header down. Oh, it's spilt by the goalkeeper, but a foul by Harding, and this was the goalkeeper Johansson, who has had a few nervy moments already in this game, a few wayward kicks, and she's fortunate there just to have got away with a free kick.
Yeah, the Feroes have conceded a lot of goals in this campaign, but one thing you can say is that over the last possibly 2 games, they have conceded less. They look a little bit more structured to what they were in the opening game. I think they only conceded 2 to Belarus in the last campaign, which is, you know, a big result for them, having conceded 6 against Northern Ireland and ourselves, and a massive total of 13 against Norway. So that's obviously something that they've been trying to improve on.
Yeah, 33 against the Faroe Islands. Cross into the middle, Harding again the target. Johannesson, in fairness to her, on that occasion did very well, confident goalkeeping. But already, Wales are using those wide positions well. Just a reminder that to qualify for the Euros, you have to win the group outright or be one of the best 3 runners-up, or failing that, the other second-place teams go into 2-legged playoff games for the other 3 qualifying places. That does seem to be the most realistic route for Wales if they are to reach the Euros.
Yeah, we need, as we said, we need to get something obviously from today's game. We have to get something from the Norway game to put us in the driving seat then, and then we can focus on our performances. Otherwise, we're relying on Northern Ireland dropping points, and if they do, yeah, we are probably, as you said, likely to be in one of those positions where we'd have to play for a playoff.
Johannesson, the captain, with a throw. Standing in front of the 4th official there, you can see. And also in shot, Jane Ludlow, the Wales manager, arms folded. And you'll notice dotted around the ground here at Rodney Parade, a lot of flags set up by the Football Association of Wales. Great to see all areas of Wales represented on those flags. I see Bala, Prestatyn, Merthyr, Rhondda, Cardiff, Swansea, Tredegar, Bridgend. It's endless, really. Much like we've seen in the men's internationals as well. Harding is fouled, and Wales have a decent chance here with a free kick.
Yeah, good play again. As I said, you know, the Natasha Harding and Hal James are trying to play right on the line of the defence, trying to look to run in behind, or 1 or 2 of them are running in behind. There's good movement, good link up between the midfield and the forwards at the moment, and this is a great position. You know, we have endless options here. Hayley Ladd looks like the likely one, and Hal James, like Sophie Ingle, certainly can, and we know that Jess Fishlock can as well.
Is it too far out? That's the question.
No, I don't think. I think Hayley had an opportunity like this actually in the Norway game, and she just didn't quite get it to dip quick enough back down. So
Hayley Ladd, oh, cleverly done. James is free, cross into the middle, Green looking for the goalkeeper to spill, but once again Johannesson, you have to give full marks to the goalkeeper for holding on to the ball there. Well worked free kick from Wales. Certainly fooled the Feroes.
It was, you know, you're a bit surprised at this level that someone's afforded that much space, but the forwards have to do better there. Someone has to get across the front post. You know, when you're taught in those positions, you're always told the front post, the back post run. You know, you have to get across the front post to make it difficult for the goalkeeper, but nobody did that.
Johannesson, Sevdal, being pressurised by Ladd. Ryan. Well, technically, some of these Faroese players are showing a bit of invention here. That's a lovely little flick pass by Torolsdottir. Wales have just got to be patient, and there is that tendency as the game goes on, if you haven't scored, there could be a tendency to panic. I don't think that will be the case here with Wales. No,
there's plenty of time, and obviously you'd like to get a result like last time, a 6-0 or more, but at the end of the day, being though the group doesn't actually go down a goal difference.
And it's Ward, an acute angle, and again the goalkeeper, Johannesson, having a good spell here. It was again another good move, good through ball to Wales's top goal scorer.
I'd just like to see a change of angle there. You know, it's very predictable that it's going to go to the front post. Change of angle, bring it back, someone run from deep, then from late onto the penalty spot.
Wales played Norway on Tuesday. And also on that occasion, it's Northern Ireland against Belarus as well, so Wales will be keeping a keen eye on that match. Ball is with Nadia Lawrence. Ladd. Well, the Feroes players camped outside their penalty area, as you can see here, and it's another long ball. It's Helen Ward's header, and again over the bar. The chances just keep coming and coming.
Another great delivery, and as we said, to the back post, so you can see the Faroe Island players are getting drawn across and they're leaving big gaps at the back. They're very exposed. Another missed opportunity, another missed header. I think possibly something that we need to do in training, shooting drills, but focusing on heading at the moment. That's 4 chances that you'd expect at least 2 of them to have gone in.
Could Helen have taken a touch there?
No, I think she made the right call with the header. Just again, you know, try and get it down.
Well, she certainly made the right call there. Has put through Harding. Done well to get to the byline. She's won the corner. Delayed the cross, Natasha Harding. And the corner is the result, is the reward to be taken by Anhara James.
Now, we had a lot of joy against the Faroe Islands away from set pieces, so we'll see what plans they've obviously been working on different routines in training.
Ladd came short, but this is going into the penalty area. Roberts' header. Could come back out to James here. Ladd in support. Just took it out there, Hayley Ladd, who is of Manchester United, of course. Has been a senior international now for 10 years.
Manchester United's reigning player of the year as well, which in a star-studded group as they have, you know, that says a heck of a lot about the quality that she possesses.
And so exciting, the women's domestic game now, WSL and English leagues. Challenge on Roberts there, free kick. Of course, we don't need a reminder that the likes of Jess Fishlock have come back to the WSL, currently at Reading on loan. Some world-class players, much made, of course, of Alex Morgan at Tottenham.
Yes, Scorio, so the Welsh language broadcast, they actually went down to Reading, did a piece with the 5 of them. I think it's a real good watch, actually. If anybody's on social media, I'm sure you, even if you don't understand Welsh, I'm sure you can pick up on the closeness and the banter, so to say, between the 5 of them.
There's quite a Welsh contingent at Reading now. Jane Ludlow, of course, has links with that club. Ladd with the free kick to Roberts, who's got up. Comes out to Kaylee Green. Another corner. Well, Wales are getting closer.
Yeah, you know, we haven't seen the Faroe Islands come over halfway, you know, have we? I think they've only been over once. This just building wave upon wave upon wave of attack, and that is really difficult to defend against when it's relentless, you know, you just can't seem to catch your breath, catch a break, and it's just down to Wales now to put one of these many chances away.
It's all about getting that first goal. And James has put it towards Ingle. Touch from Ingle. Lobs it to the back post. Well, from that sort of position, and we've seen Sophie Ingle score some spectacular goals for Chelsea outside the penalty area. I just thought for a moment she was trying to loop it into that top far corner.
No, I think if she was trying to loop it into the top corner, it'd be in the top corner, to be honest. She's that precise, she's that accurate.
And one of the nominees, of course, for last season's PFA Player of the Year. Here's Lawrence, Gemma Evans. James has come short.
You know, look how deep the Faroe Islands are. They haven't got one player. They're all in 1/3, to be honest. That's difficult to play against. You know, it is hard. We've got so many people behind the ball, and that's what you were saying before. Wales just need to be patient. Keep moving the ball from side to side. Keep moving these Faroe Islands players, and even if the goal doesn't come in this first half, you know, they will tire, and there'll be far more opportunities then as well coming from that.
James has taken the throw. Wales management watching intently here. Key stage of this first half. Wales have dominated. Can they get that all-important first goal. Ball up towards Kaylee Green. Ryan with a poor clearance. Comes out to James. That's another chance. And it's gone over the bar.
So I spoke to Angharad today, actually, and I said, I fancy you for a goal. And she should have put that one away, shouldn't she? I think she's maybe just got a little bit too excited. She just needs to just pick up a corner there, you know, just pass it into the corner. She has enough time, a good weight of pass into her, but she just leapt back a bit, and you could see then that's why it's gone over the crossbar. She just needs to ensure that she leans over the ball.
Another one of the Reading contingent. It's had a great career, of course, the Welsh-speaking 26-year-old, a proud Welsh speaker as well.
So I still can't believe she's only 26. She's been around for so long. That's what it feels like. You know, she broke into the squad when she was a dut, as I would say. You know, she was really, really young, and she's just been so consistent, especially over the last 3-4 years. You know, you really see her have a bad game.
Yeah, huge favourite with supporters. From Haverfordwest, of course. Ball in towards Fishlock. She's left it. And Harding, here's another fan favourite. As patriotic as they come. Good cross in towards Fishlock. Well, Wales are just setting up camp inside the Faroe Islands box here. Surely a goal is imminent, surely.
You hope so, and, you know, but you just need to be better, more clinical in those opportunities, when we have those opportunities and in those areas.
Roberts. Great cross. Harding. All it needed was a glancing touch. Even if she'd misheaded that, it may have ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah, superb delivery in by Rhiannon Roberts. Great pace on that cross, and as you said, only needed a little touch because the pace was on the cross.
Roberts again. Oh, it's another cracking ball towards Helen Ward. And Faroe Islands finding it hard to deal with Wales here. Green takes a touch. It's out to James. Keeper did well. And Johannesson, the Faroese goalkeeper, keeping her country in it here.
Good save, to be fair, wasn't it? Kaylee Green did well to pick up on the loose ball. You could see she really wanted to get to that loose ball, and then laid it back to Angharad James. That was better, you know, a lot more control, just trying to pick the corner out. But the goalkeeper did well.
This game also being broadcast on BBC Radio Wales and on the Cymru View service as well. Cross from James. Roberts got the header. Comes out to Ingle. And again, Wales failed to take advantage. Kaylee Green penalised on this occasion.
The goalkeepers are always very well protected in those areas, aren't they? I just,
as you talking as a striker
yeah,
here?
I am talking as a forward. It's very frustrating sometimes when, you know, she's got the right to go for that ball. And I don't think she's done anything wrong, to be honest. But
well, she's certainly been tested, Johannesson, and has dealt with everything that Wales have put her way, in fairness, so far in this first half. And that won't please Jane Ludlow. Got to take your chances at this level.
I think it's more just about getting them on target to start with. You know, we've seen a lot of the opportunities have been off target, and, you know, there's no excuses for that.
Lawrence. Roberts again. Has tried a lot of these crossfield passes, but opts for James on this occasion. Good build-up play from Wales. Ingle joining the attack. And the through ball has reached Harding. Yeah, we were just waiting for that offside flag. I don't think Tash Harding can be too disappointed with that decision. She was about a yard off. I don't think she expected that ball to go all the way through, in fairness.
No.
So Group C looks like this at the moment. Norway top, 5 wins out of 5. Wales second, and of their 5 games, they've won twice, they've drawn twice, and they've suffered 1 defeat. That was to the group leaders, Norway. Then come Belarus, played 4, won 2, drawn 0, lost 2, and then it's Northern Ireland. Of their 5 games, won once and drawn 2 and lost 2 games.
Yeah, Northern Ireland had the 4 most difficult games to start with, so they played Norway and Wales twice home and away in those first 4 games, so the table's a little bit deceiving in that aspect, as you would expect them to then beat. I think they've got the Faroe Islands last, but Wales are hoping that, as we said, those games against Belarus will do us a favour.
Wales finished the campaign against Belarus in December, by the way, also to be played here at Rodney Parade. No fans here, which is such a shame because there was something really building, certainly in the last World Cup campaign. The crowds were getting bigger and bigger. And that was the case in many of the European games as well. Harding. She concedes the throw. Jakobsen.
I think that campaign was actually, pretty vital. The success, I know obviously we didn't qualify from it, but the success that we had, we were ranked third in that group. We convincingly beat Russia at home and took it to the very last game against, a team in England that are regularly reaching the latter stages of European and world finals. And I think there's so much more interest off the back of that, and we've seen that the new campaigns launched by the FEW, the FW Trust. We've got Huddle. There's a lot of opportunities for young girls to go and not play in a competitive environment, but just go along and play with their friends and just get used to the game and hopefully develop a love for the game. And then things like B Cymru, which is trying to just give these girls a different profile, and a little bit more of a platform.
What a pass that is from Ingle to Fishlock, and what a cross that is to Ward. Well, Oliver Jonassen is having a afternoon to remember here, because that could have easily been 1-0 to Wales.
You've only got to look at the reaction of Jess Fishlock there. That's the third absolute quality ball that she's put into a superb area, and she's shouting, why is nobody getting a cross in front of the goalkeeper? You've only got to be there half a second before and you've got an open goal.
Jess Fishlock, who's played football in 9 different countries, invaluable experience that she brings to Wales. Also a big success out in Seattle, the OL Reign, and played Champions League football, of course, as well for Lyon. Here she is now on the ball. Even joined me for commentary of the recent men's international. And
did you have the pleasure of the Welsh accent or the American accent?
There were quite a few in there. No, it was great to see her slant on the game. She has such experience. She's still such a brilliant player. Here's another good player, Ward. And Jonassen again. Well, Ward has gone down here. I don't know if you can...
Yeah, his shoulder looks like, doesn't it?
Now, this could be a concern. I know that you and I were so looking forward to seeing the combination of Ward and Kaylee Green up front. Now, hopefully, this won't be an early end to her evening, but she does seem okay.
Yeah, the way she went down originally, I really did think that it was something...
And it's unusual for her to do that.
Yeah, I thought it was something you could see. She's still holding her shoulder. I wasn't sure, just because of the reaction to start with, maybe it was a dislocation or something, but she seems to have shrugged it off for now anyway.
I want to keep an eye on that. I'm sure Jane Ludlow will be as well. Johannesson to take this throw in. Well, the Feroes have offered nothing. I think Laura O'Sullivan has about as quiet a night as she's ever had in the Wales goal. And that will please her, of course, but the longer it goes on 0-0, you don't want to rest on your laurels. I thought Laura was going to have a rare touch then, but...
I did, actually, yeah. I'm sure she was bleeding for it.
Nadia Lawrence opted to go forward instead, and that's a poor pass from Roberts. Good turn from Torralsdottir. But every time Wales lose the ball, there's this quick desire to win it back, a high press, it's a high energy game. And that's where fitness levels come into play.
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot more of that in the second half. As I said, if you keep moving the ball quickly, making these players, pulling them out of positions, they do fatigue.
James's ball doesn't reach Ward, but Fishlock, that's a lovely through ball. This is Helen Ward, and that is what Helen Ward does. Wales's all-time leading goal scorer is off the mark for the evening. From James to Fishlock to Helen Ward, and it's 1-0 to Jane Ludlow's team.
And that's why she's the record goal scorer. Give her a proper opportunity like that and she'll take it. Lovely little ball through. The weight on the pass by Fishlock was superb. And right foot or left foot, she doesn't need a second invitation, Helen Ward. Just put her foot straight through that, straight into the back of the net, and I think that'll settle. I'm sure they probably was starting to get a little bit of nerves by the Welsh players, you know, just frustration more than anything. So I'm sure that will settle the frustrations, and hopefully they can kick on from here.
Goal number 43 in a Wales shirt. And one-on-one, there are very few who are better who've worn a Wales shirt. And the build-up play in particular, Jess Fishlock, it would seem a very simple ball, but it was a very intelligent ball. Beautifully weighted, and the finish into the roof of the net. Characteristically poor pass that from Ingle. James there again to win the ball back. So Wales have the lead, and that is the most important thing. That's one. How many to go?
You'd expect more, wouldn't you? You know, the amount of chances that Wales have created and missed this half, and the lack of ambition shown by the Faroe Islands team and their formation, and obviously the patterns of play as well.
Roberts. Nadia Lawrence. Laura O'Sullivan just creeping out of a penalty area. Just wanting a touch of the ball,
like
I
the
suspect.
Norwegian goalkeeper. I've never seen a keeper play such a high, well, develop such a high position.
Yeah, it's across to Harding. James in there too. Torral's Dottie with the clearance away. Johannesson with a big clearance away. Wales looking comfortable, and they will be much more relaxed now, Gwenan, with that opening goal.
Yeah, certainly, as we said, I think just a little bit of frustration was starting to build with the missed opportunities. You know, plenty of opportunities created, but you know, the preciseness not there. And just settle that frustration now, having that first goal.
Gemma Evans' cross. Kaylee Green. Oh, she's hit the post. And it was almost 2-0. Harding trying to take advantage. And I think Kaylee Green opting for power rather than precision there.
She did well. First touch just maybe took it a little bit away. I would have expected her to actually open her body up with that first touch onto her right foot, but she's another that's, you know, doesn't hesitate on either foot and took it well, as you said, opted for power, got her body over the ball. Good strike, but unfortunately Woodwick was against her.
It was Gemma Evans' cross. Lawrence and Ward. New defensive partnership tonight for Jane Ludlow. Ladd tries the ball down the channel, didn't find Roberts.
Yeah, that's quite an unfamiliar role, to be honest, for Nadia Lawrence. You know, she hasn't had much game time for the team, but you normally see her in a midfield, more of an attacking role than anything. So it's a bit of a surprise for myself to see the position she adopted there. But you know, she's got plenty of time on the ball.
James towards Harding. Fishlock has made the run. Done well to get there. Evans' cross. Comes out to James.
Just like to see Gemma Evans' ball there, just get in front in that, you know, that area, that corridor of uncertainty, as they say, isn't it, for the goalkeeper. Instead, the ball was just behind everybody who'd made the run in front.
We've seen a lot of width from Wales. We've seen about more so than we've been used to under Jane Ludlow. Well, that's not a bad thing because the deliveries have been decent.
Yeah, I think obviously with the team that we're playing against, you know, we've been able to get the fullbacks a lot higher, and that's maybe something that we don't see them in such advanced positions so regularly. They're both, you know, both very good crosses of the ball with either foot. So it is important that we do use them more regularly going forward in this campaign.
Ingle falls to Green. Fishlock beaten to it. Gemma Evans could get there. It's a contest won by Sevdal, though. They've won it back. Harding. Ingle. Ward has gone wide. Opts not to cross. And here it comes from Gemma Evans. James goes up. I don't think we've seen Anhara James spend so much time in the 6-yard area as we have this evening. There could be a goal coming for her tonight.
Yeah, I think she'd be one that deserves it. She's probably the stand-up player in this campaign, actually, especially when Fishlock was missing. You know, the tempo. She was the one that was dictating the pace that we played at. She was the one that was, you know, you could see here and out closing people down. And again, as we said, you know, she's just been so consistent over the last couple of years. It's quite interesting. I just think back, you know, the way that the Faroe Islands are, or the formation that they've adopted. You know, they've obviously come here to try and limit damage, and that's how, thinking back years ago, you know, that's how Wales actually used to be. You know, when I first started playing, you play the likes of Germany, you know that, you know, you're facing a calibre of players that are far better than you. You know, they're all full time, and you know, you are deep like that. It's hard. You know, you're just working because you barely see the ball. Just goes to show. Obviously, I know the opposition were playing, but the fact that Wales in the last game, playing against Norway, and how well we played, shows how far Wales really have come on over the last decade, yes, but certainly over the last possibly 5 years.
Absolutely. And this is a team that has become so close to reaching a major finals. We keep saying that. And we're convinced that one day it will happen. It will happen. The growth of the game in Wales in particular. Wales are going to see out the game here this evening. Ladd, another long ball. Don't get too sloppy. Keep those standards up. Clap of the hands from Jane Ludlow as well.
Yeah, I think she's just demanded a bit more from her players. You know, that's twice now that we've seen players under no pressure at all, giving the ball away.
Goal has been peppered. And Wales, though they have the lead, will be perhaps disappointed it's not a significant lead. Harding this time. Chance after chance, shots on target. Certainly in Wales's favour.
Good link-up play there. You could see what Tash Harding was trying to do, just not enough conviction on it. She was just trying to bend it with the left foot to the outside post, but yeah, just not enough pace or power on that. I'd just like to see them trying, if possible, you know, I think, well, obviously causing problems with the balls into the box, but struggling to convert those chances. Just a little bit more link-up play outside the box like we just saw then.
Fishlock. Evans. Terrific run. Is the delivery there? It is. And clearance away by Langhaig.
And that's what we were saying about before, isn't it? Change the angle. You know, that ball, we've seen it constantly going into that front post from those areas. We've seen balls go into the back post from deeper areas, but from those areas it goes straight to the front post. Change the angle. You know, it's so easy to defend against that when you know it's going there. Change the angle. That's a lot harder to defend against, and hopefully the late runners will be coming onto it.
Corner from James. Evans has gone in there. It's a corner. Well, the Wales players who were close to that ball all turned towards the Icelandic referee. I don't know if they were gesturing for some sort of decision. Didn't seem to be a hand or a foul in there, but it is a corner.
I was too far away to see, to be honest.
My eyesight's not great either.
Better view than the last time we watched Wales against the Faroe Islands, however.
Yes, and we... great to be back at Rodney Parade. Good corner from James. Harding! Another corner. James again with a corner. Evans comes out to Fishlock, and desperately away by the Faroe Islands, Hannesson.
Yeah, I'm not sure if actually people watching could hear on the players to tell Lenguage to overhit it, trying to get it to the back post, and she didn't quite overhit it. It was a perfect delivery, and Gemma Evans has got to just, you know, launch herself at that. You've got to want to score in those areas.
Evans' throw. It's back out to the left back. A speculative ball. Ladd. Lawrence. Jane Ludlow will be pleased with the scoreline. The fact that they're winning going into half-time, but
I'm not sure she will, to be honest, if I'm totally honest.
here's Ward. Chance for her second. Evans. It's looping. Harding.
Just going back to that point, I think, you know, obviously, as you said, yes, she will be happy that we're in front, but she'd expect a lot better. You know, the amount of chances created, she'd expect that we'd have a far more comfortable lead. You see some referees that are really quick to brandish yellow cards, but this one's been actually quite laid back. There's been possibly 2 challenges now that you'd have definitely expected a yellow to be given, and just a little talking to.
She's been lenient, the Icelandic referee. Roberts. It would be ideal for Wales to go in more than 1-0 up now at half-time. They're pressing for that second goal. Ladd of Manchester United. She's playing these balls down the channel. It hasn't always worked. It didn't work there.
No, I'm not sure who that pass was for, to be honest.
Roberts back to Ladd. Nadia Lawrence, who, like Hayley Ladd, hasn't put a foot wrong yet. Defensively, they've had very little to do, but what they have done, they've done well. So too Gemma Evans. Wild cross, which is kept in well by Harding. Green. Comes out to Roberts. Awkward one to take on, and that is the half-time whistle. Well, it's 1-0, but perhaps it should be 2, 3, 4. And for that, Gwennon Harris, we should give credit to the Feroes goalkeeper, Johansson, who has been tested a lot in this first half.
She has, but if I'm honest, I think you're a kinder person than myself. I would be, as I am, more critical of the Welsh forwards who have spurned and wasted a lot of good opportunities there. So, as you said, many a time in that first half, they need to be more clinical in front of goal.
Well, it's all about Helen Ward in this first half. Wales' all-time record goal scorer, doing what she does best, and that is putting the ball in the back of the net. And it's her first half goal which separates the teams at half-time, where at Rodney Parade it is Wales 1, Faroe Islands 0. Wales are about to make a change, it seems.
Yeah, looks like Josie Green is coming on. Just waiting to see who she's replacing.
It was a bold move from Jane Ludlow. She doesn't normally make changes directly after half-time, but clearly she feels that the change is necessary. And Josie Green did feature against Norway in the last game. Had a decent game as well.
She was superb in that game, and she's played very well actually for her club side. She's captain of Tottenham Hotspur, and she's coming on to replace Jess Fishlock. You know, we have got, without belittling this game, but you know, a really important game next Tuesday night against Norway. So I'm pretty sure Jane would have one eye towards that. I was actually surprised Josie wasn't starting, considering how well she played in the last game.
So Jess Fishlock making way for this second half. Getting underway, Sevdal.
She has sent what I would call a set-piece book back with Rachel Rowe as well, who seems to be studying that at the minute, so I wouldn't be surprised if she was coming on.
Another of the Reading contingent.
Yeah, I'm losing count. There's so many of them these days.
Rachel Rowe, who scored the winner out in Belarus. I was lucky enough to be in Minsk that night, and there was not a bigger smile in the Belarusian capital than that on Rachel Rowe's face. It meant the absolute world to her, her first ever Wales goal, and what a crucial goal it was too. It's a first piece of play for Josie Green, and it is a free kick.
If I'm honest, I think, as we talked about in the end of the first half, and you said that, you know, Jane would be happy to be winning, and of course she'd be happy to win it, but I think she'd be disappointed that we haven't scored many, just so that she can blood more youngsters in this game, give them more exposure at this level. You know, we've seen Josie come on, but I'm sure, you know, the likes of Carrie Jones, she's still, you know, 17 years old with such a bright future ahead of her, and I'm sure Jane will be very keen to give them an opportunity, but in order to do that, it probably, for her confidence, need to get a few more goals on the score sheet.
And she's not afraid to blood in the youngsters, as you say, Gwenan. James with the delivery here, as Wales seek a second goal. It's close to the goalkeeper, it could go anywhere. As it is, Rhiannon Roberts couldn't get on the end of it. It was a teasing ball from Anhara James.
It was, Simon. It was a great delivery actually into that back post. You just, once again, just want to see them really want to get on the end of it, you know, that determination, that want to score in that area, you know, and attack it with purpose.
Johannesson, who was busy in that first half, hasn't been too convincing from her kicks, and Wales just soak up the possession again. And once again, Gemma Evans has a lot of room on this near side. Their target is that byline. And here comes the cross. She's had a lot of joy on that left-hand side, Gemma Evans. From the Rhondda. Bristol City player, of course. And a spell at Yeovil Town. Wales have a corner. James's corner towards that near post where Gemma Evans was. And it's a goal kick, not a corner. Well, we've seen a lot of worked set pieces from Wales so far this evening. Some have worked better than others, but Jane Ludlow hasn't seen the best of her players in that regard. And interesting at the moment, Jane Ludlow on the sidelines is just glancing at like a tactics book. Here's Kaylee Green to make it 2-0. And another good save.
Well, she's
Johannesson.
She's more alive to it this time, wasn't she? When that happened in the first half, she wasn't quite ready for it, took a heavy touch, but she's more alive to it this time. Use her pace to get in front, but you just want to see her place it there. You know, there's no need for power in that instance because the goalkeeper's running out, so she's actually making the goal look smaller, the target is smaller. Just pass it into the corner at her feet where it's difficult for her to get down to.
It is another set piece. It is Anhara James again. And on the sidelines, they continue to read through that dossier of set piece routines, which is interesting to watch. How about this one? James over the head of Harding. Keeper fists it away. Roberts does well. I just wonder, Rachel Rowe has been poring over those notes on the sidelines, and clearly that's an indication, Gwenan, that we're going to see Rachel at some point.
Yeah, most certainly, but I think what's more interesting from my point of view is that obviously the spend is so long. It must have been a good 2 minutes there, wasn't it, talking about the set pieces. So you can see obviously from the pattern of the game how many set pieces they've had, and whether they're going to switch something up a little bit, change it a little bit to hopefully get a bit more joy from those situations, because it's a long time to be looking at a set piece book.
Well, no stone unturned in terms of preparations for Jane Ludlow and her staff. I'm just reminded this game available in the medium of Welsh as well, the Cymru View service from BBC Cymru Wales, and on BBC Radio Wales as well, radio commentary tonight as well. We've got it all covered. Big game on Tuesday as well. Be featured on BBC Wales television. Here's Harding. She's got room. Can afford to take a touch. Took a heavy touch. And that was sloppy play. The attack was on. And you just hope that the substitution of Jess Fishlock hasn't been too premature here. As Roberts looks to deliver into the penalty area. James looking for the rebound. Poor clearance away. Harding. Comes out to Evans, it's worth a shot. Not too far away.
Yeah, she's got a sweet left foot on her, hasn't she, Gemma Evans? So when she's in those areas, she is dangerous. Just like to see Wales just maybe anticipating the balls better in the box, you know. We're getting close to the first balls, we're getting absolutely nowhere near the second balls, and it feels to me like everybody's ran past the ball in that aspect, as I talked about before, getting people to run onto those crosses. Late runs into the box would be a little bit more beneficial in these circumstances. There
is activity on the Wales bench. It does seem as though Rachel Rowe is going to enter the fray after this attack, though.
Who's your money on? Simon, who do you think is coming off?
But it depends what Jane's mindset is, whether she feels that another one of her big hitters could be saved for the Norway game. You could see Tash Harding possibly.
Yeah, I was thinking more Angharad James to save her legs, possibly, but we'll soon see, eh?
Rachel Rowe can play wide, she can play through the middle as well. Good play from Kaylee Green. Just lost it there. Kaylee Green dropping very deep here. And we've said it so many times when we've covered qualifiers. Kaylee Green is the one player who ends up with muddied shorts and shirts at the end of a game because she gives absolutely everything.
Yeah, and as you said at the top of the programme, it's lovely to see her with actually, a lot more support around her. She often plays the isolated role up front.
Lawrence with the ball. Oh, good first touch from Harding. Offside flag, and that will prompt the change. Nadia Lawrence coming off and Rachel Rowe coming on. It is a reshuffle, which I would assume, Gwenan, would see Sophie Ingle possibly go back at centre-back.
Yeah, we've already seen her drop back already, haven't we, into that position alongside, in a familiar role for Wales, alongside Hayley Ladd. Rachel Rowe will bring a lot of energy into that midfield, and actually she's got really quick feet. I think sometimes she doesn't get enough credit for her attacking prowess as well. We all know that she's got superb fitness levels. She sets the tone for us in terms of intensity of closing down and pressing players, but in tight areas she's very, very good. She can create quite a few chances.
And wins her first touch there. 5 years now she's been at Reading, Rachel Rowe, ex-Cardiff and Swansea player. And that goal against Belarus, which I mentioned, was a really well taken goal as well. It was from a tight angle. Josie Green here. Switches to James. Gemma Evans. And Sophie Ingle at centre-back now. Goes for the long one. Good first touch from Ward. Rowe. Good build-up play this from Wales. Evans has been an outlet. Cuts inside this time. James. Well, with so many players committed forward, Faroe Islands try to attack it. Wonderful, wonderful tackle from Gemma Evans, tremendous recovery. And that prompts a Wales move with Rhiannon Roberts here. Well, that was a Jess Fishlock special, that sliding tackle. It's a yellow card for Sevdal, I believe. I must confess, was that for an off-the-ball incident, or?
It must have been, to be honest, because there was nothing in the challenge. It must have been something after it.
First yellow card. And you can see on that double hazel stand, there's a terrace, an empty terrace, which would usually be filled with supporters for Wales games, and for Newport County games, of course, they play here. As well do the rugby teams, Newport Gwent Dragons. Cross from Rowe. Well, she's looked busy already, Rachel Rowe. She brings a bundle of energy with her.
She does good purpose into that run, into the channel, but once again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. You'll just change the angle. It's really easy to defend against when you know, there's no angle on that cross.
The voice of Gwennon Harris, former Wales international, here on the BBC Sport Wales website and on the red button. A rare attack now for the Faroe Islands. Yahus. Tackle from Roberts. It's become a bit of a home for the Wales women. Rodney Parade famously played England here for that crucial game, which was pretty heartbreaking for the Welsh team. Denied him a place at the World Cup. Ball from Rowe over the top to Ward, who's got pace here. Well, Helen Ward forcing the mistake from the goalkeeper and almost got the reward for her eagerness to get the ball there. Rowe. James, Rowe. Lovely football. Green. Josie Green. Roberts has gone for the long ball into the penalty area. Good catch of the goalkeeper. The target again was Ward. And that short series of passes, reminiscent of some of the displays we've seen over the past few years. That Russian one, of course.
Yeah, they did well to work some space there for Josie Green. I think she just hesitated. You know, she was about to pull the trigger and decided against it. Went back then to the cross. Well, you know, I'd love to have seen her in space like that. Just to
Harding in space has tried it. Good invention. Spotted the keeper off her line.
superb vision. You know, she could see that the keeper was off her line. Just couldn't quite get under it enough, you know, to dink it over the goalkeeper from that distance.
Evans. And Harry James Ingle, who was presented with her 100th cap prior to kick-off by her mother Catherine in a lovely moment. Evans's cross towards that back post. Rowe comes steaming in, and it is it! It's Tash Harding who has made it 2-0. And the player who scored a hat-trick against the Faroe Islands earlier in the campaign is off the mark this evening.
And two differences there to what we've normally seen. Rachel Rowe steaming in with a real desire to get on the end of that cross, something which has been lacking in the first half of the Welsh players. And when the ball then did drop, we won the second ball, and this time, instead of looking for power, you know, just a lot of accuracy, placing it into the bottom corner, which is, you know, always a difficult area for the goalkeeper to reach. So a good finish by Tash Harding.
Goal number 17 in a Welsh shirt for Tash Harding. And we have seen her play in so many positions. I remember when Jane first got the job, we even saw her at left back.
Yeah, well, that's what she plays for her club, actually. She plays wing back a lot for her club. So she's used to playing in those areas. And to be honest, a lot of these Welsh players play out of position, or they play different positions then for their clubs as to what they do for their national teams, which I actually think is a good thing in one sense. It shows how versatile they are, and they're learning a lot more about the game and the roles and responsibilities of different positions, which will only help them to be a more complete player.
A rare touch for Laura O'Sullivan, who I think only had one touch in that first half from what I can remember. That will suit Wales fine. By no means a bad thing. Josie Green, lovely ball through to her namesake Kaylee. Wales starting to get behind this Feroes defence now.
Yeah, there's a few more spaces opening up in there, as we talked about in the first half. You know, when you're defending and you're constantly chasing the ball, you know, side to side all the time, it's really difficult physically, and it's very tiring. So you are going to fatigue at some point, and we're starting to see that now at around the 60-minute mark.
Oh, that's a poor pass from Rachel Rowe. She apologises, but how costly could it be? It's a good challenge on Sevdal, and Sophie Ingle, with all the time in the world, plays it back to Laura O'Sullivan. Wales can't afford to be too sloppy, and that's another poor pass, this time from O'Sullivan. Good recovery from James. Here's Harding, Josie Green. There's a bit more urgency now about Wales as they seek a third goal. And there seems to be activity on the Wales bench again. Comes out to Green. Well, it looks as though there'll be an abundance of changes from a Welsh point of view. We'll get to that in a moment. Clearly with Norway in mind as well.
Yeah, and I think, as we talked about, you know, the giving exposure to the younger players at this level. Jane is known for, you know, she doesn't make a huge amount of substitutions. She's tactical when she does, but she doesn't make a huge amount. So it's about giving, especially in a game like this, giving opportunities to those youngsters to.
Good cross towards that back post. Oh, and the keeper let it slip. It's 3-0. An awful mess. And it's Helen Ward, I think, who's got the goal.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Well, actually, Natasha Harding has got it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it came off Tash last. Obviously, we haven't got any replays here to double check, but I'm pretty sure it came off Tash Harding last. Again, the difference being she really wanted to score that. She was sprinting in, the desire to attack that ball.
And Harding's on a hat-trick again. And here come a triumvirate of changes for Wales. And Kaylee Green, it's disappointed that she hasn't got on the score sheet tonight. And, Lily Woodham of Reading, one of those changes, and that was the last action for Natasha Harding. And Georgia Walters, her replacement. And also making way, Helen Ward. Well, she just had to get on the score sheet, didn't she? And her replacement is Kylie Nolan. So 3 changes, bold stuff, but understandable stuff from Jane Ludlow's point of view.
Yeah, and exciting changes as well. Great to see the like Lily Woodham getting her chance today. You know, she's a very talented youngster, as a lot of the squad members are, to be honest. So it's great to see, and I'm sure she'll be really keen to make an impression. And Kylie Nolan has had a superb start to the season with Cardiff City Ladies, so hoping she can carry on that form to international.
Well, Wales could go on from here. They've got the third, and I have to say goes down as a goalkeeping error, as both Ward and Harding went in for it. Harding's goal.
Yeah, it certainly goes down as an error, but the difference again, you know, look, they're on target. If you get it on target, you're forcing the goalkeeper to make a save, and there's the likelihood of an error. In the first half, you know, we weren't even getting those opportunities or getting those chances on target and testing the goalkeeper.
Heavy touch from Gemma Evans. It is a Faroe Islands throw in. Jakobsen to take. There's a player down here, so there will be a bit of a stoppage. The medical team. It's Sevdal who's down. And all the COVID-19 protocols in place, we should say, this evening. Player safety is paramount, of course. That is the reason why there are no supporters here, unfortunately. But
yeah, just, you know,
these are the times we live in, Gredan.
Yeah, exactly. You know, privileged to be here ourselves. And I know the girls are pleased that they could get the games on as well. But just while there is a break in the stoppage, you know, just if there are a few youngsters watching, or parents with young children, boys or girls that want to get involved in the game, you know, there's plenty of new schemes involved, as we mentioned already, with the huddle schemes. I think obviously with COVID, you know, there's they're not running at the moment, or they started back but they've had to postpone again. But you know, just look online, look on the Wales Online. There's plenty of opportunities for players to take part. And you know, it doesn't have to be competitive football. It's not competitive. It's just about enjoying and just getting engaged in the game.
Eva Laguni about to come on for the Faroe Islands. And of course, we should point out as well, goal difference doesn't mean all that much if Wales are level on points with Northern Ireland or Belarus, because it's head-to-head games which will be taken into account, and particularly in the Northern Ireland scenario where both games were drawn, and therefore it's away goals in those games in the head-to-head. So it's actually Northern Ireland who are in a more favourable position if Wales end up on the same points as them. All Wales can do is just concentrate on their own game, on this one and against Norway on Tuesday night.
Yeah, exactly. And if we do get something from that Norway game, you know, it's then back in our hands.
Ingle. James. Change of passes with Josie Green. Gemma Evans. Another surging ball into the middle. Just found Rhiannon Roberts towards that back post. Keeper up to the task on this occasion. And wasn't too far away for Lily Woodham on that back post. Lily Woodham, 20 years of age. Another one of these emerging players who are promising to be the future of Welsh international football. Ingle finds Ladd. Rowe. Walters in the middle. She's not the only one. It goes over Walters' head, and it is 4-0. And Lily Woodham heads past the goalkeeper with such ease. Fantastic cross, and what a great moment that is for Lily Woodham.
Yeah, she attacked the ball with pace and made sure that she kept the header down. She put it down, make sure it didn't go back over the goalkeeper as we saw in the first half. And with the pace of the cross, you know, she didn't need to do a lot more. She'll be so pleased, I'm sure, to get her first goal.
Well, you know what that feeling is like, Gwenan, scoring your first goal for Wales.
Yeah,
she will be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, there's no better feeling, to be honest. And to get it so quickly as well as to coming on, I'm sure she'll be absolutely brimming with confidence now.
4-0. And Lily Woodham of Reading, the latest of those goal scorers. And as we thought, fitness playing a part now, and Wales overwhelmingly in front.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the Faroe players were quick to close down in the first half, but they're a lot slower by now, and as we're seeing now, you know, there's even more space to deliver those crosses, and the marking was poor in the first half, but even worse now, there's even more space for the players in the box, and as we've seen, you know, twice in the last 5 minutes with those two headed goals.
Roberts shielding the ball, looking to take the throw in quickly. Ladd may fancy the crossfield pass to Gemma Evans here. Here's Ingle. Here is Evans. Game management now, I know that's an overused term in football these days, but it's just a case of Wales wanting to get a few more goals, but not doing anything daft.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the result is, the performance has spoke for itself in that sense. You know, there's no need to manage the game in terms of trying to see it out as you normally would. But yeah, as you said, you know, just not picking up any silly bookings or getting into, you know, challenges where you're going to come off injured or come off worse before, you know, the most important game on Tuesday night against Norway at the Cardiff City Stadium.
Feroes coming off. And Eva Laguni, who plays for Klaksvik in the Faroe Islands. And we should point out, difficult as well for a team like the Faroe Islands to travel in these testing times. All sorts of protocols to go through. It comes at tremendous cost, I'm sure, as well. Just nice to watch football in such troubling times. Ladd out to Roberts. Plenty waiting in the middle. Roberts went for the early cross. It may spin out for a corner here. And to throw in.
She nearly took out the photographer with that one.
And all those flags behind the photographer as well. Great to see, isn't it? Prestatyn, Machadler, all over Wales, really.
You're struggling to see the rest of them here.
Yeah, you got me. Evans, James, nice threaded pass, and it's back to James. Claims of handball, perhaps? No shouts.
No, definitely not handball.
Howard James with a lovely one too. A rare attack now. Sophie Ingle. To James. Goal scorer, Lily Woodham. Green.
I actually remember seeing Lily Woodham for the first time. It was a school game, Glantaf, my school, against St Tylo's, where she went to school. And I'd never actually heard of her at this point. She was 15 years old, and wow, you know, that left foot of hers she's probably one of the best youngsters I'd seen at that level. And just everything looked so easy. She had so much time on the ball. And
what a run this is from Rowe. Walters, good save. And that's a plus point, the likes of Georgia Walters there, and as you say, Lily Woodham.
yeah, she did well there, Georgia Walters, you know. Reacted to the loose ball and tried to place it to the goal, kept it low. You know, didn't get overexcited and, you know, and just swing at it. You know, she tried to place it into the corner, did the right thing.
I'm not sure if our viewers could have picked up the background noise there of Jane Ludlow just talking Lily Woodham through the game there, which was great to see. Good sportsmanship there by Sophie Ingle, by the way. Player down, and out it goes for a throw-in. But it's been job done so far. So far, so good. After a mixed first half, and I know you weren't too impressed, but...
Well, I think the performance was good. It's just you know, obviously you've got to be more clinical in those areas, and you know, we're a team now that's pushing to get to that next level, and that is the difference between possibly the level where we have been at to where we want to get to. Is, you know, teams are ruthless. You look at Norway, you know, they're ruthless. You know, they didn't have a huge amount of chances against Wales in that game, but when they did, they took it. And it's something that we, as I said, you know, it's probably the one area of our game that we really need to improve on to reach that next level. And second half has been far better. As I said, the determination and the desire to get into those areas, and then just the calmness, the composure, you know, with the finishes to head them back down, and a good finish by Tash Allen with her feet.
Yeah, Harding with 2 of the goals. Helen Ward in the first half as well, if you have just joined us. Lily Woodham, a first Wales goal for her. Ingle, Ladd. Goes for the long ball again. Not a bad one either. Towards Woodham. Rowe. Early cross towards Walters. Keeper collects.
Again, just get across your front, you know, get across the front and get across. I just think there's one or two.
Cue you up to say that.
Yeah, just one or two basic things that I'm sure, you know, they'll be working on if they're doing some shooting practice over the next couple of days, and hopefully, you know, they'll reap the rewards of that in future games.
Ball through the middle, watched by Ladd and Laura O'Sullivan. We'd forgotten about her. James. Evans, who's seen a lot of the ball on this Wales left. Wales mixing it up now. Ingle towards Woodham. Nicely paced pass, but not quite perfect enough.
I think it was a good pass. I think Lily Warren just thought the defender was going to get to it first, and that's why she just hesitated, and then realised, oh, actually, it is going across her, and she couldn't quite catch up with the ball then.
What a big game on Tuesday, Gwenan. It's in many ways a campaign-defining game for Wales.
Do you know what? I'm really looking forward to it. The performance in the last game, a few weeks ago, was absolutely superb. I don't think anyone expected us to play the formation that we played, and it seemed to work really, really well. And I know the players are really disappointed because we had our chances. We had 2 good opportunities. We had that controversial, I would say, decision where, as we've said already, if there was VAR there, then it probably would have been given. And I think the girls feel like they've kind of got something to prove in that sense, and obviously important in terms of we need that point or 3 points. We need something out of the game. And I think Norway were a little bit surprised as well by the performance that we put in.
Evans' cross towards that back post, and Nolan. Good play from Walters. Done very well in a tight space here. And it almost worked out for her. Good footwork from Georgia Walters. There's a player down, so another stoppage, but love to see Georgia Walters get on the score sheet. She's threatened that goal on a few occasions. The big question ahead of Tuesday night, of course, is what happens from Jane Ludlow's point of view, and who and what sort of team that she sets up. Does she go the same way as she did out in Norway, which almost produced a fantastic result for Wales? Or does she go a bit more adventurous?
I'd expect her to set up the same to start with, because we threatened with that formation. The only problem we've got is that in terms of the team that started that time, Anna Philby's obviously out, so looking at someone else that can play in that midfield role, or will you bring someone like Helen Ward on and into the team from the start as she has done today? But it's something, it's a game I'm really looking forward to, and as I said, I know the players are and Jane is, and I think Norway will have worked probably more on their play and how they can work around us more for this game than they would have the last game, because as I said, I don't think they expected the performance of that magnitude. I don't think they would have taken us lightly, but I think they were surprised with how we played it and the way we played in that game.
Evans taking on the full back, gets the better of her. Inaccurate cross. Josie Green trying to create something here. Faroe Islands about to make a double change. Little they can do to affect this result now. Roberts does well to get that cross in towards Walters. Almost fell to Nolan. Rachel Rowe covering back. Ladd playing it to Woodham. Yeah, that game against Norway, a point could be the difference between reaching those playoffs and not, and therefore reaching European Championships and not.
Yeah, and if we do reach a playoff position, so if we do finish second in group, that will be the first time that Wales has ever reached that position, so it'll be a huge achievement in the one sense. But I think, if you looked at the group at the start of the campaign, it's somewhere where you expected Wales to be, and to be challenging Norway for the top spot, like we did in the last campaign, as we said, with taking England, who are one of the world's best teams, constantly reaching the European World Finals, or World latter stages, sorry. We took them and held them to a very good game for a good 60 minutes.
Rasmus Dottier and Leah Lisberg, the new inclusions off the bench for the Faroe Islands. James. Gemma Evans again, enjoying herself tonight. Outside of the boot from James. Yeah, just a reminder of how teams qualify. It is group winners who automatically qualify. So it would appear to be Norway at the moment from this group, Group C. The battle, therefore, is for second place, where you can be one of the best runners-up, one of the 3 best runners-up, which probably won't feature Wales as things stand at the moment. If Wales do finish second, it's likely they would feature in the playoffs. And then it's a cup game, really. It's a series of cup games, a home leg and an away leg. And that would be a position that would be uncharted territory for Wales.
But I think in one-off games like that, as Wales have shown already, you know, when we played the Russia game, which I know it was a group game, but it was a kind of a one-off at the time we really needed to win. The England away game, the Norway away, Wales are superb, you know, they really do pick themselves up for those occasions, and I'm sure it'd be absolutely no different if we were to be in that situation again. And you know, we probably would be against teams that are probably near enough the same type of ranking, or thinking in Welsh there, I was going to say Welsh first, but placement as us. So I'd be really confident that in those games Wales would come away with the right result, to be honest, because we've definitely got the starting players to do it, and we're starting to develop more depth now on the bench, which will obviously help us and put us in better stead going forward if we do get into that position.
Evans's header away. Close control from Woodham, which is what you were just talking about there, of that natural ability that she has.
Yeah, she's been very tidy since coming on the pitch. We haven't seen her give the ball away many times.
So too for Rhiannon Roberts, who's on the ball now. Rowe. Cross come shot. Comes back out to Rowe. Well, big gasps in the press box here from not just Gwen and Harris, but from
everyone,
my
I think.
colleagues, Owen Clear, Rydion Bowen, Phillips, we're all up here. And
Kath Morgan nearly jumped over the gantry, so she clearly thought it was.
well, it was a similar sort of position to the one that Rachel Rowe was in out in Belarus, where she scored that winner. So, as an acute angle, it was the other side, but it was whether it was a shot or a cross, I think probably the wrong option to shoot from there in that sense, but.
Yeah, I don't think she had any options back, so there wasn't much on for her at the time.
Cynical foul on Josie Green.
This is a promising position. It's just the fight over who takes it now. So close to the goal.
Sevdal has already been booked, so it was a questionable decision from her part. The trick is to get it up and over the wall, which has been ushered back by the Icelandic referee. And I think Hayley Ladd fancies this one.
Yeah, or even just a little bit of imagination, getting someone else close to the ball and just a little touch to change the angle.
Or test the goalkeeper and see if he can get a rebound.
Yeah.
It's going to be Hayley Ladd. Ladd. Oh, she's hit the post. Great technique. And it was almost 5. It could still be 5. Cross from Woodham. Oh, surely it's got to go in. Walters, incredible, on the line. Oh, and it wasn't 5. It should have been Nolan who put it in then. Well, how on earth did that not end up in the back of the net?
Yeah, I'm not sure how, as you said, that didn't go in. Rhiannon Roberts was coming on up pace, but I think she just couldn't figure her feet out quick enough, and the angle of her foot obviously was all wrong, as we clearly saw. And Georgie Walters did really well then, just to keep her composure when it actually rebounded back to her, just try and find an angle which didn't come off. And then I think it was it Kylie Nolan then? Yep. Yeah, she would be disappointed not to just keep that down a little bit.
Just trying to place it.
Yeah.
Could have opted for power, but
she's trying to place it, but just leant back a little bit too much, so that's why we've seen it go over. But yeah, that's one Rhiannon Roberts I don't think we'll want to see again.
And of course, all that came after a cracking free kick from Hayley Ladd. Clipped the post.
Yeah, it was curling, wasn't it? Just possibly not enough distance far away from goal to curl enough.
Ingle rolling it back to O'Sullivan. Was best remembered for that terrific performance in Southampton against England. Laura O'Sullivan had the game of her life. Has had a few mistakes which have perhaps been costly for Wales in this campaign, but I think anyone can question that she is the Wales #1 in every sense of the word.
Yeah, most certainly, and she's a real professional. She's a very grounded individual who works tirelessly on her game, and I know she's been disappointed with the mistakes that.
Roberts' cross towards that back post. Woodham tried to steer her header into the path of the Feroes goal. Wales hungry now for that 5th.
Yeah, and it's pleasing to see. It's nice to see. As you said, goal difference doesn't actually play a part in the group, but the want to score more and score for your country.
Evans' first time cross. Walters' header. Got up well. Good spring.
She timed that well, actually, and you can see what she was trying to do. She's trying to take it back the other way from goal, but that's a lot more difficult than putting it back across goal, where you've got to generate a lot more power with the opportunity that she had. And as we've seen, just a little bit too much spin on the header and took it past the far post.
I mentioned that this game is available in the medium of Welsh as well, with Owen Clear and Kath Morgan, our Welsh commentating team over on the BBC Cymru View site. And a few of those Welsh players have been learning a bit of Welsh as well. There was an initiative, I know Jane Ludlow liked to increase her vocabulary in the mother tongue, as it were.
Yeah, and that's really pleasing as someone who is a Welsh speaker, and it's a second language to myself. I don't speak it at home, but fortunate that my parents gave me the opportunity to go to a Welsh school, and it's lovely to see so many people anti the language, that saying that the language is dying, and it's certainly not. And the fact that players of this quality and of this stature, in a sense, are trying to learn the language is huge, because they are role models, and if they're more likely to start speaking the language, then more youngsters are going to think that it's a cool thing to do and follow suit. And I know a lot of them actually are finding it difficult, because it is a hard language to learn. There's a lot of mutations, but they're really enjoying it, and as we said, that's a really pleasing thing, and a really great initiative by the FAW to push that further.
Marita Three Rocks Walk and Sarita Maria Mitfos coming on. 2 further changes from Feroes manager John Peterson. All just academic at the moment. It has been a completely dominant display from Wales, which we expected. Jane Ludlow wanted a professional performance. On the whole, I think she's got that.
Yeah, certainly, no bookends. Hopefully no injuries. Just obviously need to check on that Jess Fishlock substitution at half-time, and a clean sheet, which is always important, and goals on the score sheet. I'm sure that the players will find things to work on, as Jane obviously will. She's highly critical. She's a perfectionist in that aspect, so she'll find things that she wants to work on. But as you said, job done. Tick it off and move forward to that important game on Tuesday night against Norway at the Cardiff City Stadium.
Langard, late free kick here for the Faroe Islands. Green trying to get hold of the ball. Gemma Evans not giving up the case as well. And Sophie Ingle, she even won the free kick with it. She's one of those players that you just watch and you continue to marvel at, really. Her time on the ball, her technical ability. Well,
the first camp that she came into, I can remember vividly, was Germany away. We played in front of 20,000 at the time. It was a huge experience for her. She didn't actually play, but she just came, and none of us had actually seen much of her. And in this possession drill we had, she just did not give the ball away, and she looked so composed. You normally...
Ball in towards Rowe. Hits the bar. More direct stuff from Wales, and again it came for the back, made by Sophie Ingle.
Yeah, so going back to that, she just had so much time on the ball as a youngster, not fearful at all, and you could see at that point, within minutes of watching her train, that this girl's going to go far, and as she's shown there, and that's why she's a captain of her country.
Another set piece for Wales, and another ball from James. Referee says goal kick, not a corner. Gemma Evans on that occasion trying to steer the header close to the goal.
I'd love to see the stats from this game in terms of the corners, opportunities or chances on target, off target. We've hit the woodwork 3 times, as well as a lot of opportunities that we've missed. But what's pleasing is that we are creating. You'd be worried if we aren't creating these opportunities. So the fact that we've had so many this game is a positive thing. Yes, need to work on being more ruthless and clinical, but we take a 4-0 win and 3 points at any point.
Marcuni dispossessed there. No, you're absolutely right, and that was the remit from Wales this evening. James, Evans, in support is Josie Green. She's still going. Walters in support. 4 minutes of added time. 4 minutes still for Wales to get a 5th. Walters' cross.
Good feet again by Walters. She's come on. She's made a real impression. She's gone up front. She's held the ball up well, but when the ball's come into her, she's had a lot of trickery about her. She's gone left. She's gone right. She's shown a few step overs, a few drag backs, and she's trying to create a little bit of space for herself. She's done well.
Be a long throw. To the edge of the area. Woodham did well. Comes out to Rowe. Ladd. One of the star performers tonight. I'll ask Gwenan who has stood out for her in particular in a moment, but cross from Nolan. Falls to James. Here comes again, far too close to the goalkeeper. I'll ask that question now. Who's stood out for you, Gwenan Harris?
I think for me, a lot have played well, but 2 have stood out above the rest, really. I think Gemma Evans has played really well down the left. She's been a good outlet. A lot of her deliveries have been on the money, and then miss consistency. And Hannah James, up and down, working tirelessly as ever, as we see her now. And she's got involved as well, and she'll be disappointed not to have got herself on the score sheet today.
Ingle tracking back against Sevdal as if she was going to be threatened. Supported by Woodham. Congratulations again to Sophie Ingle, who received that 100th cap. This is her 101st cap, incidentally, tonight. She received the honour from her mother, Catherine, just prior to kick-off. A really proud moment for the family. James back to Ingle. How nice it would be to finish with a 5th. Remember, Wales scored 6 against the Faroe Islands earlier in the campaign.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the Faroe Islands have improved since then. Credit to them. They've been a bit more disciplined and organised in their shape. And in that first game, actually, Wales scored, I think it was 3 within the first 15 minutes, so the game was relatively over relatively early. But they have been better.
Roberts towards Woodham. There's dipping. Well, Lily Woodham, goal scorer tonight, and one of the many plus points for Jane Ludlow. Getting her first goal for her country. But I think against Norway, it's fair to say it'll be the usual suspects who we'll see very much take centre stage. Ingle, Fishlock, James, Harding. The skeleton of this Ludlow team. Rowe. Got the pace. Trying to find Roberts. And all eyes now on the referee. That game on Tuesday will be live on BBC television. Brought to you by BBC Cymru Wales. Absolutely delighted to bring you that match. James's ball goes back to the goalkeeper, Jonathan, and that is that, job done. And an all-important win for Wales in their quest for a place in the European Championships in 2022. It was totally one-sided, and Wales were rewarded with 4 goals. Helen Ward, as lethal as ever in front of goal, 2 for Tash Harding, and a great moment as well for young Lily Woodham.
Yeah, great opportunity for her today, and she took it with both hands with a superb finish, you know, with her head, really attacked it, kept it down, showed good composure, and overall a superb performance by Wales in terms of professionalism. Job done, and move on to the big game on Tuesday.
Yeah, on to Norway, Gwenan. How will that go?
It'll be a far more difficult game from this evening. I wouldn't expect Wales to have the same amount of possession or territory against Norway, but after the performance last month, you know, they'll take a lot of confidence from that game, and tonight as well, into that game, and they'll be raring to go. And I think they, as I said, they were disappointed that they didn't win, or didn't get a point or get something from that game. So they'll be raring to go to get something from it.
Job done in Newport, on now to the Cardiff City Stadium on Tuesday. It's finished in this European qualifier. Wales 4, the Faroe Islands 0.